Hey y'all, this is Marley K. Hope y'all are well. Got a story I want to share with you, and it is about the Supreme Court's decision to strike down race in college admissions, officially ending affirmative action programs. And although it is for cases in regards to Harvard and UNC, University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill, it is the precedence now. And so, all these things that we got fighting through the civil rights era are being repealed, and you can see it happening in real time. And it's done intentionally. If you're Yasharel, you understand that this nation is going back to its roots, to the way that it used to be before Jim Crow ended. And with that comes a lot of things. I've been telling you for the last couple of years, if you've been following me on Medium. If you haven't, I've not really been active on my YouTube. But for years, I've been telling my followers that Black people are in danger. We are an endangered species in this place. And so as you see these things happening, they are creating an atmosphere that is going to be intolerant of African American Black people. While this case, it's specific to a certain group of people, the people from the Dragon Country, because they're the ones that initially tried to bring these cases to have them repealed. It goes to show how every other group gets to decide what happens to us. Every other group gets to decide how much progress we make. And we may take 3 steps forward, but we might get pushed back 5 steps because we have so many different groups working against us. We have so many different organizations working against us. We have an entire political injustice and financial system working against us specifically, so that we can remain the serf class. They need a bottom class, and we are the precedents for that. So I'm going to read this for you just so that you will get a heads up about what is coming, because this is just the beginning. You see how, they're killing us in the streets and they're not getting charged. You got the repeal of the affirmative action programs. You have everybody now under the Civil Rights Act of 1865. And I go back to 1865 because that's where the first Civil Rights Act came from. So no matter what they talk about, moving forward after 1865, the Civil Rights Act of 1865 was for us. You just see all these different things happening at one time. And so you have to know what's coming next. We are headed back to a Jim Crow, and it's going to be Jim Crow for us. Everybody's going to get to be white but us. Everybody's going to be protected but us. You notice that the Asians got an Asian hate crime bill, but you can't get a hate crime bill. You see the Native Americans got hate crime bills, and they have all types of legislation. They have billions of dollars that they have set aside for them. They have land, even though it's not the best land. They have land that was given to them. All sorts of, privileges that we don't get. Everybody has been protected. Everybody has been compensated. Everybody has been helped except for the Negro. And so you gotta know, you gotta understand spiritually what this is. That spirit of rebellion, that spirit of hate, that spirit of love and bloodshed, that spirit of oppression and enslavement is still on this land, and it is not going anywhere, which is why this country is going to be judged. Now, you combine that with the fact that, here it is, everybody in the country want to celebrate Juneteenth, and they want to make it a federal holiday, and then they want to link it to Pride month, so that you got to share it with another group that they mushed into the Civil Rights Act so they can have the privileges that were meant for you and the benefits that were meant for you. And those groups of people, which predominantly are white, I might add, get protections and programs that we never got. And so it's just interesting watching all this happen. And I know it's all spiritual, but there's a natural component to it. And so we have to know that we are in danger. We have to know where we are. We are still living in the belly of the beast. We are still living in Jim Crow land. This is the end of the second Reconstruction era. That's what I like to call this period. And so as they repeal all the things, all the privileges that we fought for, the end of it is the fight, the physical fight, where these people are actually coming out and harming us and our children, because they've set an atmosphere throughout the nation and throughout the world that we don't matter, that we are burdened, that we don't work hard, that we don't do anything, that we are less than every other group, that we are not important. And that is permeating everything right now. You can see it everywhere, from who's the president right now, to the way that the Supreme Court rules, to just how the police in different states and different jurisdictions treat us, to just the civil and family court systems. Everything is about anti-blackness and African American oppression. With that said, y'all know what y'all need to do. You need to keep prepping. You need to continue to pray and seek the Most High. We're not supposed to seek revenge, because vengeance is Yah's, not ours. But you're not supposed to be defenseless either. You're not supposed to just allow folks to do any old thing to you. And I'm saying that with my whole chest, because I ain't tolerating nothing either. We're not supposed to provoke, but we're not supposed to allow people to harm us. And our people are so divided, which is intentional, but we cannot see the writing on the wall because we got all these different little fractures in our community. And it's to our detriment. It's intentional, but it's to our detriment. Being a peculiar people is an understatement. But a lot of us are not going to make it because we are not seeing the writing on the wall. We are living the end of the second Reconstruction era, and these people are going back to Jim Crow, pre-Jim Crow. If they can kill you and your children in the street and get away with it, they will. If they can take from you and they know nothing is going to happen to them because the system has already put that into the atmosphere, they going to do it. If other classes of people have been given the green light that they are more important than us, all lives don't matter. That's basically what this atmosphere that's been set is saying. All lives don't matter, just the ones that they cherry pick. As long as it's white, or it can manifest quickly and become white, or it will adopt white supremacy tendencies, then it's right. It's okay. And our people ain't never going for that. So there is a consistent policy of benign neglect and basically turning the blind eye to anything that has to do with us. And so we need to understand what's happening. We need to understand we have no friends. We need to understand that there are no protections for us. And we need to understand that all this diversity and equity and inclusion excludes Black people. It's for white people. It's for white women. It's for white gays. It's for any color gay, but primarily white, LGBTQ, elemental P, alphabet people, Asian people, Hispanic people, Syrians, Jewish, anybody except for the Negro. So get that in your system and stop thinking that you are equal. This not your country. This not your land. These not your laws. This not your money. This not nothing here belongs to us. We are still slaves and we are still oppressed. And if you think of your captivity in that manner, it just makes things a whole lot simpler. I mean, you ain't free. You can't have nothing. You can't be nothing. You can't hardly move without considering what other people are doing and whether or not they want to harm you. You can't live in a community without it being poisoned. You can't drink, have clean water without somebody figuring out how to take something from you and give it to other people to save money. You can't get a good deal on a home or land without being overcharged. Even, simple things like the grocery store. You go to the grocery store in the Black community, the groceries are sky high. You go to the grocery store in the suburbs, better groceries cheaper. There's nothing about this place that we should be clinging to. They don't love us. They ain't never gonna love us. They're never gonna like us. And anytime they get a chance to repeal something that we fought for, they're going to do it. And they're going to have the help of all the nations. The Bible already told y'all what time it was. So again, Israel, stop playing around. True Israel, stop playing around. We don't have no friends. Let me get into this story. Okay, so it says the Supreme Court on Thursday struck down affirmative action programs at the UNC, University of North Carolina, and Harvard University. The court ruled that both programs violate the Equal Protection Clause of the Constitution and are therefore unlawful. The vote was 6-3 in the UNC case and 6-2 in the Harvard case, in which liberal Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson was recused. The court's decision is a major blow to the most selective universities that say some consideration of race is vital in ensuring they have diverse student bodies. Now, ain't this something? Now, Ketanji Brown Jackson recuses herself, who has benefited from affirmative action programs, I'm sure, for her to make her track up to the Supreme Court. In addition to, she got the right persuasion husband to help her in all her endeavors. So she's connected, invested in her own self and her own well-being and not the rest of us. So it's just really interesting that she would recuse herself from this case, being a woman, although she didn't know what a woman was when she was being nominated. And Black, not African American, but Black and a descendant of immigrants. It's just crazy. But I mean, it just goes to show you, Black faces in high places don't mean nothing. And most times it means the opposite. It means that you got an enemy and not a friend. The small number of schools that have extremely competitive admissions programs are the most affected. They have predicted that rulings against the colleges will lead to a significant drop in the enrollment of minority students and require admissions officers to experiment with new race neutral plans intended to counteract the impact. The vast majority of colleges accept almost all applicants and will not be as affected. Among the dozens of institutions with admissions policy that take race into consideration into account are Yale University, Brown University, Columbia University, the University of Pennsylvania, the University of Chicago, and Dartmouth University. The ruling is likely to have repercussions far beyond higher education, including on K through 12 schools, and puts increased pressure on colleges to come up with workable race neutral programs that would foster racial diversity. The decision could also lead to future challenges to racial diversity programs used by employers, as similar arguments could be made under Title whatever of the Civil Rights Act, which prohibits discrimination in employment. The Biden administration has also warned that a ruling curbing affirmative action would detrimentally affect the U.S. military, which depends on a well qualified and diverse officer corps, educated at military academies like West Point as well as civilian universities. So they're already letting you know that as soon as these institutions get a chance to, they're gonna get rid of these policies. They don't have to tell you what the now race neutral policies are, and it's going to go back to being segregated, which is why we should have been investing in our predominantly Black institutions, our historically Black institutions, instead of sending our kids out to these predominantly white institutions. And now look, so while we have neglected the HBCUs, although they have their own baggage, and I'm not necessarily talking about that right now, but had we done right by them, they would have been better off if we had good people who ran them properly. We funded them properly. We fought for funding for them properly instead of divesting and going to predominantly white institutions. Now we got white people at the predominantly Black institutions, and now Hispanics, because the HBCUs haven't been getting funded properly, and so they had to pursue other monies, and those other monies come from pots that serve other groups of people. So now predominantly Black institutions are not even predominantly Black anymore. So we're screwed every which way, really, if you think about it. So you're now forced to go into systems that cannot consider race. And it's going to be a lot tougher for our people, we know, because they've already stacked the decks against us. In a ruling, in the 2003 ruling, Justice Sandra Day O'Connor wrote that affirmative action programs should no longer be needed by 2028. The court brought the curtain down 5 years earlier than she had predicted. Affirmative action, and I don't know why she would say that with her. White people always tell you what you need, like they're being harmed. Like she wasn't harmed in any way where she needed an affirmative action bill, or I just can't even. But again, it just goes to show you that we have no friends. So, you know, why a white person would even comment on affirmative action, it just goes to show you just how racist a lot of these justices are. I would say all of them, even the Black ones, they're anti-Black, and everybody has an agenda, and it is to repeal what we fought for so that we can go back to Jim Crow times. And although it's going to be a little rough, I would say we were better off when we were segregated, because we were able to produce more. When we were left alone, we created our own communities, we had our own clubs, we had our own colleges, we had our own schools. And We competed with the best of them. It wasn't until we fought for integration and got integration that we see the decline in our communities. We started seeing highways come through our communities. We started seeing our people take their money and go give it to Mr. Charlie now. And so we neglected our own stuff. And so now we don't even have anything to fall back on. We don't have black schools anymore. Not many of them. Not enough to care for the millions of children and young adults who need educating in this country. We don't have, enough black businesses to take care of all the needs that we have. We don't have enough black professionals who are skilled, I should say, skilled manual laborers who can do things like plumbing and HVAC. Engineering, city planning and city development, mechanics, those types of fields where you can make a good living, but you don't have to go to school for 4 years, and you can provide services that we need in our community. We don't have that. We don't have building construction companies. A lot of them. We have a general contractor here, or a builder here, or a skilled uh, carpenter or bricklayer. But we don't have the infrastructure that we should have had over the past 50 years because we've divested and given to this country, and now it's giving us a swift kick up our behind and saying, get out. We don't need y'all no more. We built up again. Get out. We pulling out the carpet from under your feet. That's what we're getting. Affirmative action introduced to redress historic discrimination has been a contentious issue for years, strongly supported by educational institutions and corporate America as being vital to fostering diversity, and condemned by conservatives as being anti-ethical. I'm sorry. Okay, I'm back. And conservatives as being antithetical to the notion that racial equality means all races are treated the same. Both challenges were brought by a group called Students for Fair Admissions, led by the conservative activist Ed Blum. Now, y'all see this? This is how they do. So, while we sitting up here talking about LeBron James and his wife and Will Smith slaps and all sorts of other shenanigans, here we go, missing out on all these different challenges and all these different things these people have cooked up. Now, notice that they're doing this before the next election cycle. So it is to gin up this division. They want to further divide us so that we will be easily conquered. And that's what's happening. So make no mistake about it. It's part of the agenda. The legal debate that led to the latest ruling was left unresolved by a fractured 1978 Supreme Court ruling in which the justices prohibited racial quotas but left the door open to some considerations of race. That led to the 2003 Grutter ruling, which again reluctantly allowed some affirmative action programs. In 2016, the last time the Supreme Court ruled on affirmative action, the justices narrowly upheld the admissions policy at the University of Texas at Austin on a 4-3 vote, with conservative Justice Anthony Kennedy, who has since retired, casting the deciding vote. The court shifted to the right after former President Colt 45 appointed 3 conservative justices. President Joe Biden's appointment of Jackson did not change the ideological balance of the court, as she replaced fellow liberal Justice Stephen Breyer. As Jackson served on Harvard's Board of Overseers during the litigation, she has stepped aside from the case and will participate only in the North Carolina dispute. Blum's group argued that any consideration of race in college admissions is unlawful under both title, I don't know what the title is, uh, and the Roman numeral is, and the Constitution. They said that the UNC admissions policy discriminates against white and Asian applicants, and that the Harvard policy discriminates against Asians. In both cases, lower courts ruled in favor of the university. So you see, the white people are helping the Asian people. Nobody is helping the black people because this was originally set up for us to benefit from. Everybody else came afterwards. But this white person is fighting so that Asians won't be discriminated against. And why is that? Because Asians can be white. Asians are allowed to be white. Hispanics are allowed to be white. Everybody is allowed to be white, but black people. In defending their policies, the universities and their supporters, including the Biden administration, civil rights groups, businesses, and former military leaders, argued that excluding someone based on race is completely different from seeking diversity on campus. The universities say race is just one factor that is considered as a part of a broad, individualized analysis of each applicant. Those defending affirmative action said race-neutral policies aimed at achieving diversity will often fail, leading to declines in Black and Hispanic enrollment. Hispanics not going to stop enrolling because all they have to do is check the white box. If they're not Afro-Latino, and even some Afro-Latinos are allowed to check the box for white. Prime example is in Miami. You go to Miami and look at the statistics, how many white people there. That place is, loaded with different types of people from South America, Latin America, Puerto Rico. But when they get to be Puerto Rican or whatever their nationality is when they want to be, and here in America, when it suits them, when it serves them, they can be white. We can't do that. Those defending affirmative action said race-neutral policies aimed at achieving diversity will often fail, leading to declines in Black and Hispanic enrollment. The challengers point to examples in the 9 states that already banned the practice as evidence that considering race is not essential. So I just want to say, I don't really care because nothing that you do in this country anyway is going to make things better for Black people. If we're not using our power to work, to help our own, investing in our own communities, developing our own institutions, even new institutions, because these HBCUs and different civil rights organizations were founded by those people who stole our identity. And so they don't work for us. They work for them. They work for everybody except for us. The people that are the fronts for those places, they don't work for us. They work for this system. So to me, I don't really have a dog in the fight. There's nothing we can do about it, but knowing is half the battle, that you can't do nothing about it. And then knowing what's coming is the other part of the battle. This is a divide and conquer strategy. We can't fight these people because we don't have the power, we don't have the resources, we don't have the money, and that's what they know. Also, now we are scatterbrained because we are so indoctrinated with white supremacy. We can't even see the forest for the trees. We don't even know the dangers that we are in because we have been so accustomed to living amongst our open enemies with no reverence for ourselves. I guess that's the best way to say it. But just understand what's happening. They are slowly dismantling all of the little small accomplishments that we've made over the past 50 years. And we're going backwards. We're not going forward. This is the end of the second Reconstruction era. And they're going to undermine us at every turn. They're going to repeal everything they can, or if they can't repeal it, they're going to group so many things and so many different people and so many different subgroups into anything that was meant for us that it's going to be so diluted, we're not going to be able to benefit from it. And so we need to make peace with that and let this stuff go. I don't even let it bother me no more, because I feel like, we're at the point where this place is about to get judged. We're at the point where um, Babylon is about to fall. And so the best thing you can do is come out of her. Look back as you walking out. And I wouldn't even recommend looking back. Don't be like Lot's wife. It was what it was. It is what it is. Now we're dealing in truth and reality. And the truth is, you see what's happening, you see what's coming, and we are only going to deal with now and reality. We cannot relive nothing that happened, decades ago. Those days are over. Our people dropped the ball. We dropped the ball. We took a lot of things for granted. We had a lot of snakes among us and raccoons, and they sold us out and misled us. In addition to the dominant society taking out people who were really trying to redirect us and teach us ways that are good for us. Uh, you think about Brother Malcolm and Dr. King, some of the other leaders that they took out during the civil rights era. All of it was by design. So this uh, confusion that we have in our community, and then us not really paying attention to what was happening politically and legally, it just demonstrates like we don't understand how this system works, and we don't know our enemy. Our enemy knows us better than we know them. So, it's just best to let this stuff go. Again, I told you, that's why I don't be talking about reparations. That's why I don't talk about nothing, because all these people want to do is erase us. And we know why they want to erase us. We know why they don't want us to get anywhere. We know why they don't want us to know who we are, and they don't want us to recall history. It doesn't matter what they do, because they are going to be judged for it. And I'm standing on that. Vengeance is the Lord's or Yah's, and I'm just waiting on Him to do justice for His people. We have a covenant with Him, and if we get in order and cry out and repent from our wicked ways, and our sins, He'll come swiftly. But we can't even wake folks up so we can get some justice. So the few of us who are awakened, continue to pray, continue to prepare your soul and your spirit for what's coming on this earth and what's coming to this country. Continue to try to wake your brothers and sisters up. Continue to cry out daily. Repent daily for sins of commission and sins of omission. And don't worry about none of this stuff. This is stuff that man gave us. We got a greater reward coming. Our exodus is coming, and they're going to have to give us everything they took from us. They're going to have to repay all for all the things that they've done to us. And so there's no need for you to worry about what they're doing now. They are who they are. We already know who they are. The Bible already talked about the Gentiles. We know what the Gentiles going to do. We know who the Gentiles are. So ain't nothing new under the sun. Just keep handling your business. Keep waking up your brothers and sisters. Continue to pray and cry out. Continue to repent, because there's nothing that we're going to be able to do. This stuff is prophesied. It's going to happen. And all we can do is just prepare. So please like this video, share it, subscribe to the channel, hit that bell notification so that you can get notified every time I make a new upload. Please see the description, because I have channels on Rumble and Odyssey. I have social media that I don't use. I'm just going to be honest with you. I just don't. I'm on Facebook and Instagram, but please follow me there so that when this channel goes down, if it goes down before anything else happens, I'll have a way to communicate with you and give you updates. If the internet goes down, I won't be coming back because the new internet is coming and I'm probably going to be on the poo poo list. So I won't be able to use it because I'm not planning on going along with the agenda. Uh, Again, y'all just keep praying because things is about to get rocky. Everything is hitting at the same time and it's intentional. So this is Marla K. Love y'all, and I'm out.